Thank you for tuning in to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Whether you're listening during your commute, while working out, or just relaxing at home, we appreciate you. Every download, every listen, and every subscription means a lot. Up next, the 12 Kyle podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. This is a bonus episode. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. Man, check this out. On this episode, what I want to talk about is social media, more specifically Twitter and Bluesky. Now, unless you've been hiding under a rock, you know that Twitter, or what used to be Twitter, now is called X. First and foremost, I will never call it X. It's always Twitter to me. It'll never be anything other than Twitter. Sometimes I call it Twitter X, but it'll never be anything but Twitter. So Twitter isn't probably the platform that many of you probably grew to love, or maybe for some grew to hate. It's been bought out by old boy. And I will not speak old boy's name on this platform because he does not deserve any credit for that. And since he's, bought Twitter, the platform has changed. But I can't help but reminisce when I think about Twitter from time to time as to what Twitter used to be. I am what you call a Twitter OG, a Twitter vet. I think I got on Twitter, I think it was 2007. And I mentioned this on this podcast before, and it's worth repeating. When I got on Twitter, nobody was there. Like, it was a situation where me and some of my other friends who had blogs, shout out to the blog crew, we came on here to have a way to communicate with each other quickly, or at least more quicker than we would in a blog post. And so it was just a handful of us, maybe not even a dozen. And I tell people all the time, our tweets were so infrequent that when one of my friends would tweet, I would actually get it in a text message, because you only tweeted maybe once or twice a day. Like, sending 3 tweets was unheard of because you just didn't have that much to say. And you really didn't have that much of an audience either. But back in the day, my usage of Twitter was pretty high. As it grew and expanded, so did the people that I followed and the people that followed me. I was pretty heavy into Twitter at one particular time. Right now, I don't use it as much. I get on there and I say good morning, and I may tweet something throughout the day. Other than podcast stuff, I'll be honest, Twitter now for me is just strictly to promote this podcast. I really don't engage that much. I'm rarely on it, and I'm definitely not on it during events. I think I was on it. The last time I was on it at the time of this recording was this past Super Bowl. I think I tweeted during the Super Bowl. I didn't tweet during the halftime because I wanted to stay focused on the halftime show. Shout out to K Dot. But yeah, it's I really would enjoy the interaction that I had with people at one particular time. But now it's not the same, and it just is what it is at this point. It doesn't bother me. I just understand that I don't engage that much because, quite frankly, more people showed up. Twitter in 2007, 2008, 2009 was dope. By 2010, when the rest of y'all showed up, oh man, y'all made it whack. I mean, like, it really flipped. And it got to a point where it just wasn't, what it was. The run that it had was great for me, but after that, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I met some great people on and off the platform, and had it not been for Twitter, half of the people that you've heard on this podcast before, they would have probably never been on here because we met online. So I can't say that it's been all terrible, because it hasn't been. But my usage of it just really isn't what it used to be, and I'm okay with that. there were times where, like, if there was an award show or something like that, everybody would be on it, and we'd be tweeting back and forth. Or if it was a show like Scandal or Insecure, we'd be tweeting back and forth. But now not so much is the case. So I do have a question. Which social media platform do you frequent the most to be informed? Is it Twitter, X, Bluesky, Threads, Facebook, or Instagram? Simple. So that's my question, because from what I can tell, not a lot of people frequent these platforms as much as they used to. And you can pretty much get something from each one. I don't really know if you get a lot of news from Instagram. Some people do. I've never gone to I've never gone to Instagram for news. But Facebook, Threads is kind of like, Twitter light, I guess. But not as much ads and stuff. And that was another thing too. Like, once old boy bought Twitter X, the ads, unreal. I mean, like, you can't scroll past 5 tweets before you see an ad, and it's annoying. I mean, now granted, you could get the ad-free Twitter X, but I don't want that. I don't spend enough time on it for me to pay for a blue check. And no shade to anybody that did, but I don't spend enough time on there now. There was a point in time in my life where literally I would wake up in the morning, and before I rolled out of bed, I checked Twitter to see what was going on, see what the conversation was, see who tweeted me throughout the night, because that was the thing. Like, Twitter doesn't turn off. Like, it was the one platform that stayed on all night. Facebook, you can kind of tell when people go to sleep. Twitter, no, man, nobody ever goes to sleep. And if you had like me, you had friends and family and people that you followed and people that followed you throughout the world. You could be tweeting with someone in Germany, and it may be midnight for them, but it's 7 a.m. for you. So it never went off. So I just I will say that much. It's just not what it was, but a lot of things aren't. So that's kind of the point of this of this episode. But right now we need to take a quick commercial break. On the other side of the break, I'll tell you a little bit about Bluesky, and I'll tell you about the comparisons between the two, between Twitter and Bluesky. Sit tight. I'll be back in just a second. Are you feeling nostalgic for the golden eras of rap and soul music? If so, tune in to the Rap Soul Podcast. We are your weekly journey through the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, spotlighting the music and the hidden gems that shaped the soundtrack of our lives. From the powerful beats to the soulful melodies, we bring you the best of the past with fresh insights and stories. Rediscover the music that defined a generation. Subscribe to the Rap Soul Podcast and enjoy the vibes. If you want a podcast where culture, conversation, and life collide, where you get insightful commentary, engaging discussions, and a fresh perspective on everything, then you need to listen to the 12 Kyle podcast. Hosted by the one and only, yours truly, 12 Kyle, a voice that you know and trust. This podcast will bring you thought-provoking moments, compelling stories, and a whole lot of fun. Whether you're a first-time listener or just tuning in, each episode promises to be something new and exciting. So sit back, relax, join 12 Kyle, myself, and my guests as we break down the world around us and give you stories that you've never heard before, from nostalgic throwbacks to everything in between. The 12 Kyle podcast is a front row seat to this conversation. Subscribe now and never miss an episode of the 12 Kyle podcast, where the vibe is always real and the discussion is always worth your time. And just like that, we are back. Once again, it's your boy 12 Kyle with a bonus episode talking about Twitter and Bluesky. Before the break, I told you a little bit about Twitter. Let me tell you about my interactions with Bluesky. Bluesky, here's the thing that I say about Bluesky. I tell people all the time, like, I say I have dual citizenship, meaning that I'm on Twitter and I'm on Bluesky. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people left Twitter to come to Bluesky. And I'm not mad at anybody that left Twitter to go to Bluesky, because Twitter has become, less and less fun for a lot of people, and it's become way more toxic than it's ever been. Now, Bluesky was something that I had. It was a platform that was established in 2019. I think I logged in for an account in like 2021, but my account wasn't active because like you had to be on a waiting list. And I was like, man, who is this? You got to be on a waiting list to get on this Bluesky. And I had no idea what Bluesky was or what it could be, but I was aware that it was birthed from some people who used to run Twitter. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just wait my turn. And then finally I got an email saying that, I could activate my account. And so I activated the account. And this was like 2022, I think. And I activated the account, but I still didn't use it because there was nobody that I knew that was on Bluesky. And so it was just it was an account that sat inactive for me. And then a funny thing happened. Millions and millions of subscribers left Twitter after this past November's election in the weeks following. Like I said, Bluesky was founded in 2019, but it started out as a pretty much small company. But the site itself and the user volume went from the end of October from 11 million to 25 million by right after the election. And right now it sits at roughly about 27.2 million at the time of this recording. But Bluesky is another social media platform. It's just like Twitter. For me, I found Bluesky to be very reminiscent of the early days of Twitter. It was a very cool community. When I walked in the room, I saw a lot of familiar faces. I was able to shake a few hands, give a few daps, give a few hugs. So it's been a really cool vibe. At the time of this recording, I only have like 100 something followers on Bluesky. Conversely, I have like 2,700 followers on Twitter X. And so naturally I have more engagement or more people to be engaged with on Twitter. But I'll be honest, I don't spend that much time on it. I'm trying to spend more time on Bluesky. But for the most part, I use it to promote the podcast, and I say what's up to some of my peoples every day, and I just keep it moving from there. But I enjoy it. I really like it. I like the fact that it reminds me of the early days of Twitter where everybody was cool. You didn't have a lot of riffraff. You don't have a lot of, there's a lot of hate. There's a lot of hate speech on Twitter. There's a lot of racism on Twitter. I block all of that stuff out. There's a lot of people who follow the leader of the free world. I don't follow him at all, nor his followers. So the one thing that I wish that I had done with Twitter that I'm doing now with Bluesky is there was a point in time at Twitter where I followed a lot of people who followed me. Someone follow you follow them back. Not going to do that this time around. And the reason being is because I ended up following people who would just tweet some stuff that I don't necessarily want to see. You know what I mean? Like, for example, I'm not big on fight videos, right? I'm not every now and then a fight video. If you see people, they squabble up or whatever, and it's a fair one, okay, cool. But like, and I'll never forget, it was one particular guy, and I just ended up blocking him on Twitter. And he probably wondered why I blocked him, because we had no conversation about it. But he had posted a video on Twitter, posted a tweet on Twitter. And in the tweet, there was a fight between a man and a woman. I can't even call it a fight. A woman had some words with this guy, and the guy just knocked her out. I mean, like, I don't ever want to see a man punching a woman, because, obviously this is not a fair fight. So when I saw that, I was like, and I started to send him a DM like, yo, why would you even post that like that? Like, what are you trying to show? But I was just like, you know what, let me block this dude. So I blocked him. And then when I looked at his profile, I'm like, why are we following each other? Like, I don't even know him. And it was one of those situations where probably we'd been following each other for a couple of years. And he followed me. I followed back as a courtesy, just like we did in the old days of Twitter. But why? You know what I'm saying? Or he might tweet something that politically I don't want to see, or personally that I want to see. Now, I'm not going to unfollow somebody on Twitter because they like the Cowboys and I like the Giants. No, I'm not going to do that. In fact, NFL Twitter is one of the reasons why you would want to be on Twitter. NFL Twitter, NBA Twitter, not so much. NBA Twitter is cool, but NFL Twitter on Sunday afternoons, man, listen, it's great. Twitter in football during football season is worth being around for, because one, you can get scores, you can get conversations, you can see, you don't even have to be watching a particular game. Somebody's going to tweet about a game that's happening or something that's happening in a game, and you'll be up to speed. You can always get clips and stuff like that relatively quick. If something happened, if a guy makes a one-handed catch in the Florida game, for Florida State to win the game-winning touchdown for Florida State, even if you don't see it, it'll be on Twitter within like 30 seconds. So, I mean, you don't have to necessarily watch a game. Sometimes the highlights come to you. And so I haven't found that on Bluesky just yet. But I'll be honest, I haven't really been engaging during football season. This is the first football season that we just came through at the time of this recording. So I'm not really sure where I need to go. Maybe I need to have more people, but I'll be honest, I'm not going to follow a whole bunch of people. And just because you follow me on Bluesky doesn't mean I'm going to follow you back on Bluesky. Just because you follow me on Twitter, that doesn't mean I'm going to follow you on Bluesky. The thing that I saw this when I first got to Bluesky, and it made sense. If your name is Ron_Fire on Twitter, it should be Ron_Fire unless somebody took it on, Bluesky. And because here's the thing, if you change your name and and let's say you don't have your picture in your avatar and I don't know you, I'm not following you. I'm only following people I know. And I've never been one to follow celebrities, but I'm going to do a better job of controlling who I follow and what I see. And if it gets to a point where you're posting stuff that I don't want to see or I don't want to talk about, I'll unfollow you. Simple as that. And I've done that with Twitter. Not so much now. I mute things, I block things. But at 2,700 followers, honestly, I don't know 2,700 people. So I probably shouldn't have that many followers. But it is what it is at this point. It's something that has happened over the years. Like I said, I've been there since 2007. Bluesky gives me the feel of something brand new, like a new community. Everybody seems to be pretty cool. A lot of flirting going on, a lot of thirst traps, but I mean, I don't participate. I just look and laugh. But I plan to use Bluesky differently than how I use Twitter. I'm not sure how long I'll stay on Twitter. I'll be honest, I'm not sure. I mean, so far it's been okay. I'm on there, but I'm not on there, if that makes sense. So being on there, but not being on there kind of gives me the opportunity to be on there longer. But at some point when I do step off of Twitter, I'm not going to say, hey, I'm leaving Twitter. I'll just disappear. I'll just stop tweeting and I'll close out the app. Here's the thing. Between my blog, between this podcast, between every other thing that, you guys know about me, I ain't hard to find. If you log into Twitter one day and you see that I haven't tweeted in 2 months, you can find me. In fact, I've had a couple people hit me up like, yo, man, where you at? Like that. Shout out to my homegirl T. She sent me a DM on Twitter because she knew I was on Twitter and Bluesky. We follow each other on Twitter and Bluesky, but she sent me a DM because I hadn't tweeted something like in a couple of days, and I didn't even realize I hadn't tweeted in a couple of days. Because normally I'll get on there and I'll at least say good morning. But nah, it's to each his own. I mean, everybody has to make that call. There's been a lot of people. I've had friends and family members who say, well, look, I'm not dealing with Twitter. As long as Twitter's owned by old boy, I'm not rocking with it. And I get it. And it makes sense. And I just, like I said, for me, going forward with Bluesky, I'm definitely going to be going forward with Bluesky, as well as Twitter for now. But I think I need to try to find that community of Sunday afternoon NFL fans who are tweeting and posting on the skyline. That's what they call it on Bluesky. And, music heads, hip hop heads, with, who have conversations about stuff like that. Because those are the conversations that I really enjoyed on Twitter over the years. I don't have them as much now, but again, I can't say that I don't have them because people aren't there. I can pretty much say that I don't have them because I'm not there. And how long I plan to be there, who knows? But for right now, it's Twitter versus Bluesky, and I have dual citizenship, and I'm okay with that. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me. Thanks again for checking out this bonus edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. The podcast drops every Thursday at midnight. And from time to time, we have bonus episodes just like this one on Sundays at midnight. If you're on YouTube, thank you for watching. Be sure to download and subscribe there. And more importantly, pass the word. Send it to your friends and your family. We're on YouTube. We're all, as I mentioned, we're all on social media. We're on Twitter X, Bluesky. Again, I may or may not follow you back onto it on Bluesky. Bluesky, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And if you'd like to support the podcast financially, hit us up on Cash App. $TWELVEKYLE. Also, we have a new baby. It is called the Rap Soul Podcast. The Rap Soul Podcast is a music podcast only. It is the best music podcast that you've never heard. So check it out. Those episodes drop every Monday at midnight. You don't want to miss it. It's where we have it's the intersection of discussion about musicians, music from the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s when it comes to rap, soul, hip hop, and R&B. Again, it's the best music podcast that you've never heard. So take a listen, and more importantly, share and pass the word with your friends and family who may be music fans like yourself as well. And last but not least, you can also contribute to us financially by purchasing merch. We have 12 Kyle podcast merch. Just look in the description box. There's a link that says merch. Click that link. You can get 12 Kyle podcast t-shirts, hoodies, as well as coffee mugs. We got it for the low. Again, that's going to do it for me. Thanks again for checking out this bonus edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy 12 Kyle. I'll catch you guys next time. 5,000. Cheers.
Thanks again for listening to this episode of the 12 Kyle podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and share this podcast with a friend who needs the 12 Kyle podcast in their life. Every listen, every download, and every share helps us grow. Thanks for being a part of the 12 Kyle podcast community. We appreciate your support. We will catch you next time. 5,000.